Tambrands, take 3.
Hi, I'm Laura, and I wanted to take a sec to tell you about the video you're going to see. It's really great, and it's not like those boring health films your mother probably had to watch in school. I mean, growing up is already tough enough. You've got a lot of changes going on in your life, and especially with your body. And I remember going through that stuff, too. It wasn't that long ago. And what helps make it even easier is getting answers to questions that you have, and to some that maybe you haven't even thought of yet. Tambrands, the people who make Tampax tampons, have put this video together to help answer your questions. They're experts, and with 50 years of experience, they know the questions that you want answered. So, after this video's over, I'll be back to tell you about a free sample offer and who you can write to at Tambrands with any other questions that you or your mom or even your friends might have. So see you in about 20 minutes.
Try to see my face in the glass. I call my own name, but the answer's the same. Who am I now? Show me, who am I now? Who am I now? Show me, who am I now? They say changing's okay. It's all according to plan. They say now don't be afraid. Well, I'm finding my way. So I must understand, who am I now? Show me, who am I now? Who am I now? Show me, who am I
now? When you get to be a certain age, maybe you're 9, 11, 14, or even older, your body starts changing and growing, inside and out. It makes you feel kind of nervous, right? Well, I know how you feel, because I went through it myself not so long ago. Back then, when I was your age, I worried if I would end up looking like I was supposed to. I knew I wasn't the same kid anymore. I wondered, who am I now? Back then, we were all going through changes, or at least wondering when the changes would start. I heard it had something to do with human chemistry. You know, glands and hormones. Even my clothes didn't feel the same anymore. I wanted to hide. I felt like the whole world was staring at me. I had so many questions about myself, but I was too afraid to ask. I had this really terrible fantasy that, in science class, if I took my raincoat off,
all living things go through changes from infancy to adulthood. In the plant kingdom, what starts as a sapling grows into a tree. In the insect world, a caterpillar goes through a complete change called a metamorphosis inside a cocoon, and eventually it emerges as a beautiful butterfly.
When I saw that the caterpillar got to go through it all in safety, hidden away in its cocoon, I wondered why it couldn't be that easy for me.
The bodies of all living things experience growth and development. On the outside where you can see it, and also on the inside. Some very big changes are taking place in your bodies right now. All of you are just beginning or have already started into a stage of life called puberty. Anybody know what that means? Puberty is a time when your body develops the ability to reproduce. Puberty usually occurs in girls between the ages of 9 and 16, and in boys between 10 and 17. The timing is different for each person, but in both boys and girls, it begins when this little gland right here, called the pituitary, goes into action by secreting chemical messengers called hormones into your bloodstream. In girls, when these hormone messengers reach the ovaries, down here on either side of the uterus, the female hormone called estrogen is also released into the bloodstream. Estrogen causes a young woman's breasts to enlarge and hips to round out and hair to grow under the arms and in the pubic area. It's also responsible for the growth spurt which occurs during puberty. These visible changes on the outside tell you that other changes are also occurring inside. Inside the ovaries, these hormone messengers stimulate the female reproductive system, and from then on, about once a month, the ovary produces an egg or ovum. This is part of a cycle which occurs month after month during a woman's reproductive years called the menstrual cycle. It's a natural series of changes. That means now you are physically able to have babies. Of course, this doesn't mean you are ready to become a parent. Once every 28 days or so, one of the two ovaries releases an egg or ovum. The egg travels through a passageway called the fallopian tube towards the uterus. The uterus has been preparing to take care of the egg by growing a thick lining of blood and tissue, a soft, nourishing place where a fertilized egg can develop safely into a baby. If the egg isn't fertilized by one of the male reproductive cells called sperm, then the uterus sheds its lining through the vagina. This process is called menstruation, or having a period. This shedding of the uterine lining, your period, can last anywhere from 3 to 7 days. When a girl begins to menstruate, her cycle may be irregular, or she might miss a month during the first year. On the average, the full cycle takes about 28 days to complete, but it may be as short as 17 days or as long as 35 days. Yes, Sarah?
Miss Talbot, how come boys don't have periods?
Wait just a minute. Now, hold on. That happens to be a very good question, and good for you, Sarah, because that shows that you're really thinking about this subject. Boys don't have a period because their reproductive system is different from girls. Complementary, but different. During puberty in boys, the control center, the pituitary gland, secretes hormones which cause the testes or testicles to release the male hormone testosterone into the bloodstream. On the outside, testosterone stimulates boys' shoulders to broaden, and they grow hair under the arms and on the face and chest, as well as in the pubic area. The penis and testes also enlarge. On the inside, testosterone stimulates glands called the seminal vesicles and the prostate gland to produce fluids called seminal fluid or semen. And these fluids mix with the sperm, which is produced by the testes. Remember that the sperm are the male reproductive cells which can fertilize an egg or ovum during sexual intercourse. Through sexual stimulation or during sleep in what is called a nocturnal emission or wet dream, vessels in the soft tissue of the penis become full of blood, causing an erection. Semen, which is constantly being produced, may then be released through the natural process called ejaculation. However, ejaculation does not have to occur with every erection. Testosterone also causes increases in height and weight and a deepening in the voice. Yeah. You all have your own inner clock, your own timetable, regulating how and when these changes in your body will occur. We're all different, and we all grow at different rates. But it's these differences that makes each of us unique. Now, how about some of the world's most embarrassing questions? You must have some. Remember, if some of those questions do come up, your parents went through the same thing.
I had a million more questions I wanted to ask, but most of them had to do with how I felt about, things.
See, Miss Talbot, I'm not the same Sarah you once knew in homeroom. Sometimes I think there's something wrong with me.
Don't worry, Sarah. There's nothing wrong with you. All the changes you're going through, the feelings and thoughts you're having, it's all completely normal. Personally, I think you're terrific.
You. Who are you?
I'm you. In a few years. I'm Sarah.
For real? Well, I hope I know more by the time I'm your age. That is, my age. You see, Susie's already got her period, and I haven't yet, and I'm kind of worried that I won't. how to, what to...
Taking care of yourself is easy. You can choose between 2 types of menstrual protection, internal and external. Pads and panty shields are external forms of protection that absorb the menstrual flow. There's a regular absorbency for light to medium flow days and super for heavier flow. Pads should be changed every 4 to 6 hours to avoid leakage and odor. Pads and panty shields are easy to use. They attach to the inner side of your panties. And look, they fold up so small that you can carry them around in your pocket and they'll stay clean, wrapped in their own little bag. Tampons are a kind of internal protection. They give you a bit more freedom than pads. They let you do what you normally do each day, going to school, working out in the gym, or even going swimming. Even though they're tiny, they work as well as pads. You'll see you can really trust them. Inserting them takes a little practice, but it's really quite easy if you just relax. A tampon is made of a soft, absorbent material with a rounded tip. An applicator, plastic or cardboard, places it in the vagina in the right position. And by the way, it's not true that you lose your virginity when you use a tampon. A cord is stitched through the tampon, so there's no way that a tampon can get lost or stuck. You just pull the cord when you want to remove the tampon. There are different absorbencies of tampons for you to choose from, depending on how much menstrual flow you have. Slender regular tampons are made to protect you on average or light flow days. For heavier days, you can use a more absorbent tampon, like a super. You should change your tampon every 4 to 6 hours and always use the lowest absorbencies for your flow. There are instructions in every box and information on toxic shock syndrome, Sarah, so read them carefully before you start.
What about toxic shock syndrome?
Well, toxic shock syndrome, or TSS, is a rare but potentially serious disease associated with tampon use. If you have questions about TSS, read the insert in every package of tampons or consult a doctor. Also, it's a good idea to get in the habit of marking on your calendar the days when your period begins and ends, just to keep in touch with your cycle. Some days you might not feel like exercising and running around, and other days you'll feel great. You can do anything you usually do. There aren't any rules, but missing gym just because you're having your period would be a cop-out.
Okay, Mike. Just because you're bigger and your muscles are... Hey, Mike, listen. Football's not my game. That is...
Okay, Mike. You may be bigger, but I'm faster. Much faster, man. Sometimes Mike needs to be reminded, right? This is what you're going to sound like in a few years.
Wait a minute. You're,
That's right. I'm you in a few years. I'm Steve, too.
Wait a minute. If you're an older me, why don't I have any hair on my chest? Is there something the matter with me or what?
No, there's nothing the matter with you. Nothing at all. It's just that some guys have more hair than other guys. It doesn't mean that you're not the greatest in every way.
Okay. Listen, Mr. Confidence, can I ask you something else?
Sure. You can ask me anything. Go ahead.
It's embarrassing, but what about, getting an erection at, the wrong time? Sometimes I have to wait until everybody else leaves the room because, it's embarrassing.
I know just how you feel. I remember. Sometimes when you get an erection, it's not even sexual. It's what your teacher was saying. Hormones.
Yeah?
Sometimes it may seem embarrassing, but it's nothing you have to worry about. It's not a problem. It's much more obvious to you than to anyone else.
Easy for you to say.
Hey, I've been there. I've been through it. Give yourself a break. Take some time and remember that what your body's going through right now is all part of a natural plan. The way you're put together works. It may be different from the next guy, but that's really all okay. Really. And hey, Steve, remember when you're talking to Mike, soccer's your game. You were made for it.
Yeah? Thanks.
I remember how some days, after school, I felt like I was just bursting with energy. Other times, I didn't feel like doing anything at all. Life was so boring and dull. I'd just sit watching TV thinking, what does any of this have to do with me?
Good afternoon. This is Sharon Miller with your news update. There was a lot of excitement today at Suffolk Junior High. Tina Miller denied reports that she likes Mike Degrassi. Mike himself had no comment about the matter and is reported to be worried about an outbreak of pimples, which he first noticed this afternoon after football practice. In other news, the former S-U-S-I-E, Susie Decker, has changed the spelling of her name to S-U-Z-Y, explaining simply that the new spelling is, quote, more me.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Facts, Fibs, and Fantasies, the one and only game show where everybody is a winner. All right, okay, here we go. Our team captains, where are they? Come on, Sarah, come on, Steve, what are you waiting for?
Me?
Come on, let's go, rock and roll. Everybody ready? The first question is for you, Team 1. True or false? Chocolate gives you pimples.
False. There's no conclusive evidence that any food, including chocolate or fried food, can cause pimples. One major reason for pimples is the increased hormone level during puberty. Hormones cause the oil glands to activate. Oily skin causes pores to clog, which leads to acne. If you wash your face regularly, eat well-balanced meals, you won't have to worry so much about pimples. In fact, cleanliness is very important, especially during puberty, because of the hormone changes in your skin and hair.
Correcto. Ready, Team 2? If a person feels restless and uncertain about themselves, something is wrong with them. True or false?
The answer is false. Because adolescents who are becoming adults are pulled in several different directions at once. Grown-up feelings and sensations may be in conflict with childhood, causing you to feel uneasy or restless. This is completely normal. Communicating with friends and family may clarify these feelings and may be a useful way to relieve tension.
That's right, Steve. Ready, Team 1? If you don't know about something, you should keep it to yourself and not ask any questions.
That's false, too. You should ask questions, even about embarrassing things. That's how you learn. Your parents, relatives, older friends, even teachers want to help you. If they don't know the answers themselves, they'll help steer you to the right person. So that's false, because you should ask questions.
Hey, you guys. How'd you get to be so smart? Okay, Team 2, last question for a tie. If you think you're ready physically for adult roles and responsibilities, then you're ready mentally. True or false?
This is false. There are a lot of things you think you're ready for, just because you can do them physically. But mentally, you may not be ready at all. That's why it's better to play it safe. Take it easy and go slow. It's like driving a car. Just because you know how to turn the key does not mean you should get out on the highway.
Right again. Well, congratulations to both teams. Well, that's all we have time for today on Facts, Fibs, and Fantasies, the one and only game show where everybody is a winner.
I can feel it coming away now. I can see. Don't be afraid of the beautiful mystery. Everything's part of one big plan. See how the pieces fit together now. Nature's adventure, we learn to grow. Watch it unfold from moment to moment. Living each day we'll find our way. Who am I now? Show me, who am I now? Who am I now? Show me, who am I now? Who am I now? Show me, who am I now? Who am I?
Welcome back. You know, getting used to the idea of puberty, and especially having your period, is even easier when you choose the most comfortable feminine protection possible. And for me, that's Tampax tampons. I've been using them since my first period, and I think they're the greatest. Check this out, and you'll see what I mean.
Presenting Plastic Applicator Tampax tampons. Comfortable, easy, plastic.
I want my plastic.
Tampax tampons expand to fit your natural shape.
I want my plastic. No tampon design protects you better. I want my plastic.
Plastic Applicator Tampax tampons. The pick of the plastics.
If you'd like a free sample of Tampax tampons or have any other questions, write to this address.
Dr. Iris Prager, Education Department, Tambrands, Inc., Post Office Box 7001, Lake Success, New York, 11042.